So, hello and welcome to the bonus episode for the 1946 update of the automation game map in the game Transportiva 2. And this bonus episode will be about a long train ride from Willburg in the center of the map and the eastern part of Gasmea to Harford, the capital of Gasmea in the west. And then all the way to the other end of the map to Al-Rilma in the very east, and then a flight back to Harford to conclude. And as luck will have it, here is our train for the first leg, so a mod class 03 of the German rail line with 4 thunderboxes, and let's enter the train. It is a mod with some custom camera positions, so what I'll have to do is move the camera manually to a place that's roughly comparable to the vanilla camera perspective. So you will see a slight change of view, change in field of view when we move to another train, but the basic idea will be the same. So we're now leaving Willburg, so over a bridge. So this resembles a bit, for those in the know, the Cologne main station. Here we see this small train coming from Bad Neusund in the north. So with the Cologne main station at least in one direction, it is in the terminus. The entry and exit to the station is right over the bridge as well, over the Rhine. So here just a tiny train from the north. Let's focus ahead, and ahead we already see Rensweiler, our next stop. And ahead is the Schwerthöhe Mountains. We see a goods train with boxcars pulled by a class 52, so that's the other mod I have on the map for mostly period correct, not entirely for 46, but roughly a class 52 in, again, German railway colors. So we see modern-ish signals, so they already modernized and they did away with semaphore signals. So that was Rensweiler, and now first we see another goods train. That's an ore train from the Northern Bay. That's cool. You can see glimpses of ore at the top. And now we're passing through a tunnel under the Schwerthöhe mountain range into the French-speaking area already. Next stop will be Chapelle. The class of 3 locomotive that we're using is a bit overkill for these start-stop commuter trains, but that might have been a bit of a vanity project. One more cargo train, a fuel train, again pulled by class 52, so let's see some good use. So as you can see from the speed, we will be hardly hitting 100 on these short hops between cities. Not to the easiest terrain, so it's certainly get equally mountainous. So to the left are the Alps, the border between Gasmea and Prenia, and here we are then in the middle of the French-speaking part, entering Chapelle. Seeing a plane at the sky. We're going to Willburg Airport. Here we have a mix of semaphores and modern signals, which I think wasn't uncommon at the time. To the left we see Opel Blitz trucks loading logs, I think, here at this location. Next stop, Vinola Bay. That pillar in the middle is a bit of a glitch in this bridge construction in the vanilla game. sometimes appears, sometimes doesn't. I don't know exactly why, so we simply have to ignore it that it stands in the way on the rail tracks. It isn't supposed to be there. So a bit of a larger station here, below the bay. We see our counterpart passenger train. So here we see the 3 at work. And more semaphore signal. To the right there is the cargo terminal with the ore, which is carried here by ship from a nearby ore mine. And now we're actually exiting the French-speaking parts already and moving towards Picton, where we will exit and then hop onto another train towards Harford, the Gasmean capital. And here it's all semaphores. Don't think anyone has touched these rail lines for decades. Whereas the Northern Bane has grown a little bit with the addition of a cargo terminal since 1925. So finally we can stretch our legs a bit, metaphorically speaking, speed-wise. We have to go around this big farm. So that's why we're only having 90, because the curve is a 90 kph curve. So here we see Picton, which is the passenger hub in the Great Plains. I think we're going to cheat a little bit, exit this train and enter the train that has just left, because that's the one we need. Going to Harford. So it's a Hiawatha locomotive with fast passenger wagons, or passenger wagons for high speed. So here the speed, since we have to share the track with all the cargo trains coming from Aylesbury, like the one on the left, but can we beat it? No. Yeah, so now this train is limiting our speed. So here is the junction to Aylesbury, so we see an oil train entering Aylesbury cargo station and then a lumber and steel train making their way to Harford. Here we have the river ends with plenty of ships going back and forth. Aylesbury is at the horizon at the center. And now we have to cross the river ends and also head up to, across the mountain ridge. That's why we have this extension bridge construction. And we're probably going to encounter plenty of cargo trains, so notice the change in locomotive style. So this is a mountain locomotive 410-2, I think, from the US car set. Because now we're in sort of proper US inspired core Gasmea. That's among the busiest train routes here in the game at the moment. Some mix of dirt roads and asphalt roads. So I suspect at this point they bothered asphalting to the point and then stopped. Especially if it's going across mountain passes. The tunnel, more cargo trains. So there's one more fuel, or oil, rather, in this direction to the Rayford fuel refinery. So here, pure dirt roads in an area where not much is happening. We're up to 100 actually, so these cargo trains are fast. Can be fast, but there are limitations. And now we can stretch our legs a bit, but not too much. Here we have a DC-3 landing at Harford Airport, which is right there behind the trees. And here we have to wait till the cargo train has entered Harford station. Which may or may not be take a while, because Harford is among the busiest train hubs in general. So again, bit of a vanity project, putting a high-speed locomotive like the Hiawatha on this route. Some train traffic in the distance of cargo trains going north, so that was probably blocking the main station. Or we have another train of the same type than the one in front of us, currently in the station, and then the train has to wait till it's loaded and unloaded. There we go. So this one is moving, so we should start moving as well pretty soon. So here we have this box cars, and yeah, that's the same type as the one ahead of us. Just with empty stake cars on the way back towards Gasmea. More cargo traffic to the north. That's oil to the plastics factory in Midbury. There we see the oil cars. But we can enter Harford station, so that's good. And then we can hop onto the express train towards Berlau, which is already there. So we can just cross things. So that's another Hiawatha. Autosave is on. I always keep autosave on, not that the game ever sort of crashes on me, but I rather have it or in case I sort of screw up and haven't saved recently when building the game. Yeah, so that's the train we want and we need, so we'll just jump on that one as well. There we see a regular train exiting, so we're in no rush to board the other train, and this will also be standing a bit in the way of us. That's stopping at every station and then going to Lawston and Pena, whereas we will go straight to Berlau. We have a, yeah, that's the train that we had, and there's another one coming in from the north from Midbury. That's a standard Atlantic. So these are comparably slow. Okay, so we exit Harford. Probably catch a glimpse of the Harford port here. Lots of stuff happening there. Here is the Bishopsville machine factory, and we see in the distance the train, the Great Lakes connection ahead of us. Maybe we can overtake them in Crafton, maybe not. So here we see this difference in speed, so we have to slow down a little bit to stay behind the other one in the block distance of the signals. Here's some trucks and some Sims cars starting to drive around here. And here across the lakes, plenty of ships, Lake Kilbis and Lake Hepping to the left. So, for those wondering, there are no means in Transport Fever to give trains priority or to change signals, etc. The only mod that exists that I'm aware of is a complex timetabling mod, which would be totally overkill, especially for this huge map. So yeah, we have to live with slower trains standing in the way of faster trains. So we're approaching Crafton, but we won't stop in Crafton. The change in the colors for the track is that these are high-speed tracks that allow theoretical speeds above 120, but this of course only works with when the train has space. So the other one stops in Crafton. Will be probably caught out by the signal. Yes, the other one's already moving. Also here we see an older generation of passenger trains, so Pullman wagons and Standard Atlantic in front. Now we should have free tracks towards Berlau, or mostly free tracks, because this one will turn right towards Lawston and we will turn left towards Helvetia. See some Sims cars here on the asphalt roads. No center markings yet, I will do that later, for later years, because center markings didn't get standardized for a long time. There's a nice history guy video about center markings if you're interested. So, an elaborate bridge construction to go over the Clares River at Lawston on Clares to allow maximum ship traffic with the least amount of pillars and plenty of ships going about. So unless the diesel Zephyr is in the way, which goes between Lawston and Karlstadt, we should now have a fair amount of clear track. Can we break the 120? Let's see. So that's on the south coast of Gasmea and approaching Helvetia. They're much faster than the regular cars, so this road is limited to 60, but I think these pre-war cars are limited to 40, I think, even, or 50. Yeah, so we are now past 120. And I think after this bridge is Helvetia. Here is the Zephyr diesel train, so one of the marvels of Gasmean engineering, and this one runs between Karlstadt and Lawston. One crash, that's an unfortunate side effect of having cargo vehicles having to crawl uphill towards Tannenstein, and the trucks aren't powerful enough yet to do this properly. Note that we have barriers in Helvetia on the railway crossing, so they not just have upgraded everything with catenary. Here we see a nice PT3 taking off from Berlau Airport, which is just on the left above the rail tracks. And here we see one of the Adhesion passenger trains. They also upgraded, in the interest of safety, all railway crossings to have barriers, whereas in Gasmea you might have seen many crossings don't have barriers yet. And also here, of course, all signals fully electric. So this is Berlau, split into two, at least in this game, by a river. And we're now entering Berlau station and going to change trains again to the Berlau-Terso Express. I had one plane approaching Berlau Airport. It's probably one of the more interesting approaches here, coming across the mountain ridge, the Alps, depending on where you are. Okay, so that was this part. So what we now have to do is wait for the Berlau-Terso Express to arrive. So this train will now magically turn around and go back to Harford. So to wait, we have to look here, change the camera, and yeah, this takes some time to load and unload. So while we say goodbye to the Hiawatha, called Berlau-Harford Express, we'll now wait for our next train, while we see a Adhesion commuter train arrive, pulled by an electric locomotive. So, as we see one Adhesion commuter train arrive, we also in the distance see our Berlau-Terso Express arrive, sharing the track with the express train to Harford. It's another Class 03, so assuming the Frenians work together with the Schemland Germans in terms of train development. So then that's board there's one. Again, I have to manually adjust the camera due to the mod not having the vanilla camera perspective. So we see one plane landing in Berlau, and some trucks doing their stuff, and now we're on the way to the Frisian capital of Terso. So leaving Berlau, next stop would be Meereshofen. But we don't stop there, we just pass through. It's a bit of an odd geography here, but yeah, there is hardly any space in map terms between coast and mountains. To make the mountains accessible at least for cars and trucks, so that's simply a function of the limited space available. Here's Klafenstein volcano, dormant volcano. It would be an interesting hallmark for every plane approaching Berlau airport. You have the window and then seeing the big volcano. Some Saurer trucks, Swiss trucks, using them in Hadija instead of the Opel Blitzes that I'm using in Thuringia and the French and German parts of Gasmea. Some more Sims cars on these roads here. Mostly asphalt at Hadija for the mountain passes. So this is Friedheiner Meer. Again, we pass through and we have no other train in the way. That is great. Here we are limited by the curve in the train that we need to go around the coastline. Again, this odd glitch of these bridge construction type. But I don't want to use the stone bridges at this point. There we encounter one more Hadesian commuter train. So we should have now free ride into Thuringia. So this is Zalvis. Last stop, or last potential stop in Hadija. And now we are approaching the border. You see the Thuringian Monte San Ignazio ahead with the lake and the crater. We have to navigate our way around the coastline here, so that's why our speed isn't fantastic. This is, I think, the last crossing in Hadija, and now we are in Thuringia. Here on the left we saw the Marina oil refinery. To the left we would go into Marina, but we don't. We go to the right and head straight along the Thuringian coast towards Terso. So note in Thuringia no catenary and still old-fashioned semaphore signals. So they haven't invested much into their rail infrastructure. This is Via Stella, including a not unbusy port. And we pass right through Via Stella. Another slow-ish curve here. And now we should get to our top speed maybe of 120. Lots of ship traffic here. The orange one comes from Slovenia, the red one is a Gasmean tanker, and the green ones are Slovenian ships. Plane in distance landing at Terso Airport. We're going to encounter a Slovenian commuter train as we approach Castelfranco, and we just were being blocked by the other, or one of the other commuter trains. I think there are 3 on the same line. So we have to get in line. Again, I don't have the option to prioritize trains or signals. And if you wonder where is this the correct way of signaling stations in Transport Feed 2, it's sort of yes. The idea of having no signal on the train on the through tracks is that under most circumstances this allows passing, except in the circumstance that we just had. So that's a bit of a workaround for that. Not ideal, but it works most of the time, except when it doesn't. That's how we get to take in a bit more of the scenery before we get to Terso. And there we are, and we are also lucky again, because that's what's currently going in. That's the Kronagrad Express. So it will take some time to unload. These are usually very full. So here we get onto our track. Now I have 3 trains here in Terso. So we exit and take in the sight of the other 2. So that's the Kronagrad Express going all the way to Ahana. So let's board the train. And now again we have to share the track with the 3 Slovenian commuter trains, but here we might see an overtake working, because the express here is faster, and all the stations in Slovenia are signaled that way, that under most circumstances you can get an overtake. So let's see whether this works here as well. So that was Terso. Here is the port of Terso, and behind that hill is Terso Airport. Quick look at the city. The Vita steel mill, stand-in for the Vita city. So running at full swing. There we see the steel, I think, lying around. And now we can speed some Opel Blitzes here on the coastal road, carrying stuff from the Terso port to other places. Bridge across the road into the mountains and more trucks. And we're going to pass through Baikanta, meeting 2 commuter trains, and we are blocked again. That was a bit unfortunate. So next try Kalidis. It all depends to the extent how much loading and unloading the other trains have to do, whether there is enough time for the faster train to actually block the whole track past the station. So that's the trick behind this current signaling, which is technically missing an exit signal for the through tracks. So Slovenian coastline, some farm idle. So that's Kalides. And yeah, that's the overtake. So we're now blocking the entire track through the station until the signal passes the station. So here is Kalides and some coast in the distance. And now we're going through directly till our next stop, Leningrad. So this express doesn't go all the way to Kronagrad. It has one stop after the border, which is Leningrad. And now we can pick up speed. This one I think does 115 or just 100 because the passenger cars are limited to 100 at this point. We'll see. Yeah, so that's top speed because the passenger cars are limited. So let's put the in the border station. So if the terminus track to the right and to the left for the Farinian and Achanen commuter trains respectively. So bridge into Leningrad. And we'll stop here. I'm not sure why these folks walked right into the locomotive, but anyway. The Leningrad port, but we can't see too much here, I suspect. No. Should get a better view. Much less ship traffic here compared to Frenia. There we see one. The truck bringing food from Yalta, I think. You see some tankers in the distance, so that's one of the reasons why you see less ship traffic here. The tankers going to and from Dalluha don't pass by the coast, they simply go straight. So now approaching Yalta, but we are going to go past Yalta. Yalta is a terminus. There is the Yalta oil refinery. Here we see one of the southern commuter trains. Yalta will be to the right. That's where this cargo train there is heading. But we don't go there. We just go straight. Across the mountain ridge. So one more cargo train that also goes to Yalta. That one takes off from Yalta to Smesky and returns empty. And here we have to make our way all the way up there. Some brave Achanen souls tackling the mountain ridge in their own cars. And this Sims traffic is auto-generated. There's one airplane following this mountain ridge, not to crash into the peaks. Although, as a footnote, I can't influence the flight paths. So whether they can make or cannot make mountain ridges is just a function of auto-generated flight path and the power of the engines. So almost at the peak of this pass, and then we go right and back down towards Mara, and then finally Kronagrad. To the left would be towards Novobeskov and Shmesky. crossing. There we see Lake Mara. Basin. But we have to take a few curves to finally get down there to lose the altitude. Truck, briefly visible from carrying coal down to Mara. So there we see the Mara Machines factory. That's the stand-in, if you want, for my main brand's car factory. Here's the Mara cargo terminal and the passenger station. We passed through though. And we see Kronagrad ahead. No barriers, of course. This is Ahana, where safety is entirely optional. And we are at Kronagrad. This is the Al-Rilma train. I think it's one of the... No, it's one of the north-south connections, so we're not in a hurry to switch to that. This one would go back to Yelta. Okay, so here we are. So let's exit. There is Kronagrad Airport. And let's wait for the train to Basara and Al-Rilma, as we see an oil train in the distance, and one plane landing at Kronagrad Airport. DC-4, probably from Harford, or from Berlau? From Harford. So, we see two trains approaching. One is one of the basin connections, going around in circles around the basin. And the other one in the background, that's the train to Al-Rilma. We see a Junkers 52 landing at Basara Airport, and one cargo train exiting the Avonia station and making its way towards Al-Rilma as well. So that's not the one we need. This is the one we need. So yeah, nice house where you can relax in your garden and then watch steam trains and get a healthy dose of steam and soot into your face and onto your cake if you fancy that. And otherwise, yeah, now it's moving again. To let that one exit first. And then make our way towards the mountain bridge where that oil train is currently heading to. And that empty ore train is also heading, so I guess we have to get in line there. Another busy route, mostly cargo get into and out of the basin. Not the quirks of Ahana geography. Can we beat it? Let's see. How is the signaling? Some extra tension due to autosave. Here we cross also one of the main roads, so the single main road into Dalluha. There is only one, only this. Mostly dirt. And yeah, we beat them, that's great. So we might have now a reasonably quick descent, or first ascent and then descent into Dalluha. You can see some trains carrying food back to Basara and yeah, only Basara. Al-Rilma doesn't get food. Here's a full coal train going to Shmetsky. And this is very steep uphill, so we're only doing 50, but now it's a long descent into Dalluha. So we should pick up speed reasonably quickly. So as we see, we can see desert, a few palms and water, so it must be Dalluha. Here is Basara. Passing one of the oil rigs. Where the oil is exported to Gasmea and Frenia. So not to disturb the cargo trains too much, we go across. So cargo trains have a priority here. So stopping at Basara. And the final stop, Al-Rilma. These trees here, by the way, are auto-generated from the houses. They look a bit odd. And sometimes they're also, if these are built directly next to the railroad tracks, then these trees get actually in the way of the trains. But nothing I can do about that. And we are overtaken actually by a cargo train going into Al-Rilma cargo station. And we see the oil train exiting. But we have our own track, so we don't care that much. One oil rig. And our destination, at least for the train ride, Al-Rilma. So lots of coal is waiting, some oil is waiting, and the on-ore train is waiting to be full. And if people wanting to go back to Kronagrad or Basara for that matter. So, that was the train ride. And with a bit of train spotting here. We actually let's take the train back to Basara and then take the plane to Harford. Unless that plane there goes to Harford, let me just double check. Then we hop aboard. Yeah, this is the Harford plane, so we cheated a little bit. And board the plane. And go to Harford, because there's only one on that route. The DC-3 is a bit too slow to make this connection very interesting for the Sims. So how many passengers are on a certain route also depends on how quick they can get to the destination, and for this map size the DC-3 is a bit slow, so one plane is fine. So here we are then launching while having best view about one cargo train waiting to get into Al-Rilma and one other exiting. We also get a great look at the oil port down here. So the green tankers are from Dalluha, the red ones are Gasmea and the blue ones are Frenia. Here is Tuscala, the two Ahan oil rigs. And now we make our way across the mountain ridge all the way to Harford at the other end of the map. Get a good look at first Kronagrad Airport, then Kronagrad city behind it. Port is Then at Vormia, as is the food factory. You can see slightly to the left of center. Further to the left there is Mara. We'll probably have to pay a little bit of attention that Mara and Kronagrad don't merge in later decades. So we here see the Lake Mara and the basin. Get a pretty good idea of the basin. So we have Sahki at the left end of the lake and Glensk at the center now of what's visible. Novobeskov left to the river. Further up, Yanagrad to the right at the foot of the mountain ridge to the right. We're still gaining altitude, so that's why we're only having 99 kph at the moment. This will change once we have reached altitude. Lots of ship traffic on the main river. So now leveling. So Novobeskov now to the left. C1 train approaching Novobeskov and Yanagrad to the right. Both have a rail line. Now we're picking up speed, so that's Vashduk ahead, big hub, not only industry but also train. Volkov nested then to the left between the two hills or mountain ranges. Sliza to the right, at the mouth of that short river. Rosendorf-Tenelova right underneath us. So that means we're entering Gasmea already. Willburg to the left, then Rensweiler a bit further in the distance. Willburg Airport slightly to the left. Good ship traffic along the river Albe. Hammersbach to the right. Inland. At the Erkhausen steel mill down there. Standing for the city of Erkhausen. Now across the sort of no man's land here in Schemland, so Felsbach to the right, with nothing around it. The French-speaking part now coming into view at the left, so that's Chapelle. No, that's Avignon-les-Bains already, because that's Picton ahead, straight ahead. Aylesbury to the left at the distance. And Durbridge to the right. CD is the port city at the mouth of the river Enns. Kenholimore to the right, and then Midbury slightly more inland. And we're already starting the descent into Harford, which you can see at the distance. There's our airport to the left. Busy train route, as you can see, plenty of cargo trains going back and forth. So there's Harford to the left. Tall stone ore mine almost dead ahead. And now the left turn approach to Harford Airport. There it is. There it comes into view. And landing on the numbers isn't a thing in transport heat, but this depends on how fast the plane is, and slower planes land further towards the end of the runway. And yeah, touchdown coinciding with autosave. That's why we're not moving any further. And that's us arriving in Harford. What we can do is, to conclude things, maybe take the airport bus then to the city center. We're a bit on the outskirts, or on the other side of the train tracks in Harford, so you need to take the bus to the city. So I guess we can do that once we have arrived at the terminal. So there are two terminals, a hangar and the main building here. We're here at the first terminal. So then let's exit and let's take the next airport bus that stops here. So there is the airport bus. It's full. Taking no one back because the people actually need to walk from the terminals to the bus stop. So looks like we beat them all. So here they walk into the main building. So we have to, there is Harford on the other side of the big train station, so we have to backtrack a bit. So technically this is already Bishopsville, because this is the Bishopsville Machines Factory. Here is the big hub for trucks. Currently some fuel waiting there. Being picked up, and lots of Ford trucks carrying stuff back and forth. The one ahead has fuel on it. Harford Port. Train tracks. And then let's get into Harford proper. These are the outskirts here. Another airport bus. There's a tram. So all the capital cities here run trams, which are a bit overkill for these small cities, but yeah, again, a bit of a vanity project. Maybe for all the capitals that they have trams, and then Lawson has trams. Okay, so then here, let's say we get off here at the main hub for trams and buses, which dates back all to the beginning of the game, where this was a hub for horse-driven coaches. And then that concludes this bonus episode for the 1946 year, so for the first year where there is actual overlap with the automation in-game timeline. Hope this was interesting, insightful, and there will be then the next updates for 1960s, so stay tuned for that. See you then.